what's going on, music community? This is Antman hanging out with Mr. Paul Graham here at Carolina Hemp Company for Hempy Halloween. How's it going, sir?
Good, thank you. It's a lot of fun today.
Yes, it was. First and foremost, thank you for doing what you do as an artist and musician. Since I have you here, I wanted to ask you, how long you've been in music?
Well, I've been playing music for 46 years, I think. 46 years I've been playing guitar. Started when I was a senior in high school.
Yeah, what was your biggest influences getting started?
Well, in my generation, everybody went berserk when they saw the Beatles on TV. But so there was that. But my mother, who's from Houston, Texas, she always played different kinds of music in the house. So she played folk music, and she played jazz. So I grew up listening to folk musicians like Odetta and sort of country folk guys like Johnny Horton. They had albums and hits back in those days. But I also grew up listening to jazz artists like Yusef Lateef and Ramsey Lewis.
Wow.
So I grew up in that kind of a musical vibe. And then I was just, I don't know, I grew up in Southern Ohio, in Appalachia, and my mother's from Texas, so I spent a lot of time in Texas. My grandparents' house. My grandfather played guitar and mostly sang Mexican folk tunes in Spanish. And my Spanish was terrible, and I wish I would have recorded him. I have his guitar, but I don't really know the songs he was doing. He was not Hispanic, but he played those songs all the time. So I grew up around kind of a mix of music. And then, rock and roll hits, and then it's like I'm in high school from 69 to 73, and everything's going on, with all different kinds of music. Folk, rock, bluegrass, blues rock, I was listening to everything from Doc Watson to Jimi Hendrix, and I was just into it all.
Yeah, you guys come you come up in an era around war and around a lot of things, So a lot of the music that was in there was inspired, by a lot of the stuff that was going on in the times. Yeah. What was your fondest memories from those times?
Oh boy, that's a tough one to answer because I remember where I was when I heard about Kent State, and I also had a low draft number as a 17-year-old. So it was on my mind a lot, without going into a lot of details. But it was, but of course, a lot of music then was, there was a lot of feel-good music, but there was a lot of protest music, in all genres, not so much in country music, but there was people coming like Chris Christopherson, writing great songs. I mean, I got into him probably when I was about 15 or something. I loved all these blues players too, and I love country blues, and I'm wearing a Hot Tuna hat, so I'm a huge Hot Tuna fan, have been, since I was a kid, when I first heard the Jefferson Airplane. Yeah. But, and of course we have Fur Peace Ranch here in Ohio, which, you know all about that. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so it's like a lot of different kinds of guitarists and guitar players have influenced me. I mean, really. And then I love improvisational music, so I got that vibe from listening to jazz. But then you throw in like Grateful Dead, Allman Brothers, one of my favorite bands. Those kinds of bands that could improvise. And a lot of people don't think about the Who that way, but I'll tell you, you go back and listen to some stuff of the Who in the late 70s or late 60s, and into the early 70s. I mean, they'd go off on a 30-minute rant on something,
Yeah.
And it was not just the West Coast bands here.
Yeah.
But, a lot of different kinds of music. I love Celtic music. I love mountain music, Bluegrass. I love bluegrass.
Being an artist, and obviously you've seen a lot of things change. You've seen a lot of things, fall away and adapt and change. What has it been like for you to adapt and change your music and stuff like that, through the years coming into 2020?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, gosh, these are such weird times, but, I was talking with a friend not long ago we're about the same age. I said, every generation has their weird times. Every generation does. My mother's 96. She's lived, this is her third pandemic in her life.
Wow.
So, you know, we talk about those kinds of things, you know, and it's that perspective on history that brings everything forward. So anyway, what I was starting to say is like every generation has their own crises, has their own disruption. And, you know, when I look back over my life and everything that's happened in my life, you know, the Vietnam War and, you know, going into the draft but not being called up, and that really twists your head as a 17-year-old when you're not into the draft at all. But all that music, it became kind of a, it's like a stew in my brain, you know. So, but I don't listen to just people back then. I mean, I listen to a lot of, I you know, bands like Wilco, and you know, we're out here listening to Fleet Foxes and talking about them, and there's so much talent, and there always is, and you always see artists reacting to the times, and of course we're seeing a lot of that now too.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know, you hit a point with age, and you know, you can't help but look back and reflect, but I don't, musically, I've tried not to be stuck in the past. Now, today I focused on certain things, and you probably heard me say some of the reasons why I was playing some of the things I was playing. But there's, I'm trying to think of who I first heard say this, so I don't know who it was, so I'm just going to attribute it to, like, so many musicians and so many guitarists especially have always said, like, you know, steal from the best.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So, you know, I'm influenced by a wide range of guitar players and non-guitar players. So, you know, watching what some of these folks do, and how so many of them, young and older than me, that are still vibrant and making music. You know, there's a lot of good music that's just happening out there, and I just keep my mind open, my ears open, and try to find the good stuff out there. And occasionally somebody, I'll hear something that's goes like, oh man, I really like that, and I might incorporate a song of theirs, or I see them play or something, and it's like, that's a really cool approach. I like what you're doing there, and maybe I'll morph it into something that I can do, because I'm certainly not the world's greatest guitarist, any shake of the stick, but you know, I can play what I play.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can adapt what people who are way more accomplished than me, and I can go like, I can maybe steal that a little bit.
You know, being, you know, we mentioned, you know, the pandemic and what's going on. I know you're a photographer as well on the side. What has it been like for you being a musician and a photographer in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of COVID-19?
Well, like a lot of people in the creative world and the arts world, and people that I'm sure you've been talking to and been around, you know, everything just slammed shut. Everything shut down, you know. I mean, obviously that happened with everything, you know, businesses, you know, my gosh, we all know it goes on and on and on. But as far as what I was doing at the time when COVID shut everything down, I just had gotten out of one juried art show with my photography, and it had just closed like at the end of February, and I was in another juried just photography show that had just opened at the end of February, and it was open for maybe 10 days, and then the building it was in was shut down because it was in a Metro Parks building here.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that picture back until late July, because when the building reopened. So, you know, and there's online things, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, and I haven't actually been doing that a whole lot, but I've still been producing art, you know, taking pictures and getting them printed and getting things finished and that sort of thing. But I just haven't been submitting to anything. In my life, music and photography have always kind of run parallel. So I have always tried to do both. And there's been times when one of them will kind of fall to the side a little bit and the other one will take over. And I'm kind of more into music than doing photography. Even though I'm taking a lot of pictures, I'm just banking them. You know, I'll get back to that. But I do take a lot of pictures still. But
kind of like a musician with notebooks of songs they never really dip into unless they really want to, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the stuff that I've been writing has all been because of the pandemic, I started a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And the only thing I've put up there is 5, what I call my quarantine series. So I don't perform this stuff hardly at all, but I do solo guitar compositions and alternative tunings.
Oh, wow.
Weird tunings. So I've put 5 on my YouTube channel. And I was up in Michigan for a few days in a cabin first part of this month, and I started working on another one in an odd tuning that I can't write music or anything, so I have to record it, get my ideas down. So that's my memory check there, because I'm not a trained musician.
Right.
I cannot write music. So.
At least you have that discipline, though. I know a lot of artists, musicians who set out to just rule the world, but don't know how to get that going. They have a great creative mind, but so that's really awesome that you were able to grab onto that and say, all right, private space, record, let's go.
Yeah, and doing it all on video as opposed to just doing audio recording. So that's different, because a buddy of mine that I used to play with, he lives in Cincinnati now, and well, I was talking to him, and he's did a YouTube channel, and he's been doing that and doing some little backyard concert kind of things for friends and neighbors. But I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm going to look into that. So I figured out how to do it, and it's fun to do. But the thing of it is the first 5. Some of my friends have said, like, when are you going to put a song on there? When are you going to sing and show your face? Because here's what I did. I said the 5 that I put up there are for guitar nerds, because as a guitar nerd, I'm looking at the guitarist's hands. I want to know what he's playing, or she, because I want to make that clear. There's some really fantastic female guitarists that I watch and listen to. One being a woman named Molly Tuttle. Look her up, folks. Anyway, I put the camera on my hands because I'm already saying what weird tuning that I'm in. And, if people out there, nerds like me out there, it's like, okay, that's the tuning. It's like, what's he doing with his left hand? What's he doing with his right hand? Because I'm finger picking.
Yeah.
Except for one, I flat picked it. But that's the kind of stuff I kind of do for myself. And now I kind of threw it out there on YouTube. So.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, while I have you here, I know we got a bunch of show to get out there and check out, so I won't keep you. But what would be one piece of advice that you would give to an artist, musician, somebody out there that's watching this that, is interested in getting into music?
Oh, somebody that's basically just starting?
Yeah.
Practice. Practice. That's a cliche, but, and I'm gonna modify what I'm saying, because you can take lessons online now, which is great. People have been able to do that for years and years and years. That's more important now than ever because of the situation that we're in. But there's so many resources available to young artists, aspiring guitarists or pianists or whatever, singers. You can you can pay for lessons online. There's all kinds of things you can download. There's all kinds of stuff on YouTube that's for free. Everybody knows all this stuff, but I saw one of my nephews do this when he was 14. He used to, we wouldn't see him for days. He'd be in his parents' basement, and one day he comes up. He's like 14. He's got an acoustic guitar, and I knew he had a guitar. And he sits down and he says, "Hey, Uncle Paul, check this out." And he sits there and he beautifully plays the Beatles' Blackbird.
Oh, wow.
Didn't sing it because he's not a singer, but he and I'm just like, Matt, man. He says, "Yeah, I've been down on YouTube learning guitar." down in the cave.
Yeah, school of YouTube.
And he's like, that was like 15 years ago now, and there's so much more available to young people nowadays, or old people who want to start it. I mean, gosh, here's the basic advice from me is, if you've got the interest and you've got the bug, just go for it. And listen to your heart and what makes you happy in whatever music that you play, and just follow that. That's what I did, and I'm filthy rich, and no, I'm not. But what I've done is that I have been able to play music for several decades that I like. And I've made a little bit of money, not a lot. I occasionally, I do play out, and I do it for fun. I do it for fun now. That's really my thing.
Is there any social media or website anywhere people can find you so they can check your stuff out?
I'm on Instagram under hashtag Eagle Red Heart, the bird, the color, the organ in our chest. So I'm easy to find on Instagram, and my name is on there too, Paul Graham. But that's like my web page for my photography and music. But I put a lot of my photography up there because I took my website down and I haven't rebuilt it. So, and I do have a YouTube channel, and I found out when I set it up that there's at least a half a dozen other guitarists out there named Paul Graham with the same spelling. But the thing of it is like when you're on YouTube and you put in Paul Graham, what you're going to get is about 10 million videos by a guy with the same name who does some kind of financial advising. So buried in and amongst the Paul Grahams is my channel.
Okay.
Wow. You know how YouTube addresses are. It's just gobbledygook.
Well, what I'll do
I don't
is
even know what it is.
I'll have you send me a link and I'll post it in this video so everybody can check it out.
I will do that.
So,
and I really appreciate this.
Yeah, definitely,
it's
sir.
Nice talking with you. It's nice meeting you. This has been a lot of fun today.
Yes, sir.
And
thank you for doing what you do as an artist musician.
Well,
it's been really great.
Doing what you're doing with all the promotion and everything. I mean, what you do helps people like us a lot.
Yeah.
It really does.
Well, it means a lot to me, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day, sir.
All right.